And that's a shot glass on a Glock 17. Got some vodka because we're going to be talking about the war on cash and this Russia's ICBM, the Satan II. They also have a bigger one, but apparently this missile can take out like France or Texas with just the warheads off of this one missile. So start out with that. That's Sputnik News. I think I have a clip that I wanted to play.
Jeez. Need to take us in one piece, and that's why they're here now. That's why they won't use nukes anymore, and we won't either, not on our own soil. The whole damn thing's pretty conventional now. Who knows, maybe next week will be sore. What started it? I don't know, two toughest kids on the block, I guess. Sooner or later, they're gonna fight.
Yeah, I hope not, because I don't have 10 years worth of food stored up. Going to talk about the war on cash, some Black Friday and pre-Black Friday buys and Cyber Monday buys. I'm working on putting a giveaway, tactical stocking stuffer giveaway together for my YouTube channel. So this here is the Satan II missile. Guess that looks like a 16-wheeler all-terrain military vehicle, and I guess they got a lot of fire extinguishers on the front by the driver's side there. They drive on the, I have no idea what side of the road they drive on in Russia, but it looks like whichever side, everybody gets out of the way for this damn missile. Sputnik, that's kind of a pro-Russian propaganda kind of a site, but hey, they want to show off their own missiles on their own website. That's okay with me. I'm sure we have our own missiles, but a 40 megaton, that's a pretty big one. So as far as what's happening, before I get to India, I'll just cover this, some news stories about this. Let me see if I could get to the right page here. It's one of these things, when you run a chat, you got to have all these damn things up. This one is even better than the Topol M missile. Its warheads are supersonic and change their course all the time. Some of them will penetrate any existing missile defense shield and will hit their target. So basically, after this ICBM has multiple independent warheads, then it re-enters and turns into some kind of cruise missile, so it can change courses on its way to its target, making it harder to shoot down because you don't know exactly what its course is, or something like that. Those devious little fuckers want to fight World War III, or hopefully they don't. But so far, it seems like Putin has been happy with just little successes that he can boast about to his people, like Crimea or Ukraine or Syria. If he wants to fuck with the Baltic states, those are NATO countries, and that's likely to be. I don't think they're up to that. And won't be pretty, but also not pretty happening in India. People are actually dying in line. Nobody, basically there was one picture that I'm not going to show of an old guy. You could find it on the internet. There's an old man died, and there's a line of people waiting in, like everybody in India had to do, for cash, and basically nobody would help him, because if they went out to get some water or a piece of food or some medicine for him, they would lose their place in line. And then if you try and cut in the line, people start fighting, and then the police will come in and beat everyone. So, but it really is kind of sad. It's happening in India. But and you're just got to wondering if we're going to go to 100% cashless society everywhere. So this is a R-26 missile, RS-26 missile. Here, adding to NATO's air defenders' worries, during the descending action of its trajectory, it's only a few hundred kilometers left to target. The missile's warheads are suddenly take a dive, lose altitude, and continue the approach as a cruise missile. So multiple independent cruise missiles on a, it's just, they have to be super. They can't just nuke the target. They have to be super cool when they do it. So, all right. So there's that one from Sputnik. What else do I have? Here's our friend Vlad. I can't believe the Bush family looked into his eyes and saw his soul, because, I mean, well, what, I don't know what you see, but I see KGB. I mean, anyway. Russian 2 reveals Satan 2 nuclear missile capable of destroying Texas in one blow. Yeah, 40 megatons. I think the U.S. arsenal is pretty much standard. I think the B-63 warhead is 1.6 megatons or 1.3 megatons or something like that. So this is 2,000 times as powerful as the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that has multiple warheads on that missile. I don't know how many. There's a picture of it from the Russian website of the Makeyev Rocket Design Bureau. That's kind of like, reminds me of that movie with Clint Eastwood, Firefox, where the scientists complain that they can build that super jet fighter, but they can't make a car that works. Yep, nobody's lining up to buy their cars. Definitely. So I guess I'm gonna pour some vodka in a minute. And here's a different news source. Like, so this last one, Gizmodo, never even heard of that, but came up on a internet search. So here's BBC News, if you trust the BBC. There's Putin and some balaclavas, soldiers with balaclavas. Is that, or am I butchering what those are? I know it's not baklava, but anyway, I'm sorry, I don't speak Russian yet. So there's another picture of their arsenal. So according to the BBC, Russia's nuclear arsenal is a military stockpile of approximately 4,500 nuclear warheads. And let's see, 1,800 strategic warhead deployed on missile and bomber bases, 700 strategic warheads in storage, and 2,700 non-strategic warheads. If they're not, so what are they, tactical nuclear weapons? I mean, that's like, you got an AK-47 that shoots nukes or something. I mean, the Kalashnikov concern is getting out of control if they're making nukes. But anyway, and a large number of 3,500 of retired warheads. So they're drawing a pension and sitting around. All right. This is interesting. So BBC. Bigger than Madonna. Why airport security is so popular on Instagram. I really don't care. Russia is in the process of modernizing its military, but apparently not its economy. You usually need one. If you don't have an economy, you can't have a military. And so we get into the dollar thing. There's a big OPEC meeting, OPEC there, and I think a couple oil energy ministers have flown to Russia. And I don't know where the OPEC meeting is. You could Google it, but they're trying to convince Russia to Russia just wants to freeze production, and they're trying to cut production to deal with low oil prices. And if OPEC doesn't reach a deal, the oil prices could sink down to $20 a barrel again. And if they do, it could go as high as 100. So all these countries that produce oil are heavily dependent on that income. So they're going to try to jawbone the price back up. What you're dealing with, mortal enemies, and Iran and Saudi Arabia, and that don't trust each other. And the Iraq this morning, the Iraq energy minister got off the plane in Geneva. I think that's where the meeting is. And just him walking from the car to the hotel, that he was surrounded by like 50 reporters that all shoved a mic in his face, and he said something like, "I'm optimistic that we will reach some kind of agreement," and the oil prices futures went soaring up again and then they were back down. I think by the end of the day, they're in the 40s somewhere. So gold is still getting hammered. It went up a little, but it hasn't hit 1200 again. It hasn't climbed over that mark. It's I think $7 under that or something last time I looked. And so if that's the gold cartel who just wants to smash it down, so they can make money with their bonds and money printing. I have some pictures to show with, gotta find all this stuff. Dano found me a link. How much U.S. currency is in circulation? There was approximately, this is the federalreserve.gov website. So if you believe anything that the Federal Reserve says, there's approximately 1.48 trillion in circulation as of October 20th, 2016, of which 1.43 trillion was Federal Reserve notes. And I saw that our debt is 19.9 trillion, getting real close to that 20 trillion. I think we need to have a party when we hit 20 trillion. That's, and that's, when the debt hits 20 trillion, that's when I'll do my tactical stocking stuff for holiday giveaway. That's what we should time it. We'll have a big giveaway or something on YouTube, and I'll be collecting items in there. I can't give away gold. I'm not that rich, but I'll throw in some cool stuff. Anyway, let's see. I'll skip the ants stories for now. I like to cover the news in the first part of the show, and then generally after about a half an hour or so, people start to jump on the link. It's on the Gun Channel side where we have a couple of lurkers there. Let's see. Mass exodus underway from Aleppo amid regime gains. Rediscover listening. Yeah, people are buying record players again. Believe it or not, people mastering plastic. Basically they used to have these equalization kind of machines, and it's like mastering a CD, anything. It's just they put a compression and equalization curve on the audio when they throw it onto the plastic there, and so records sound better because of the mastering. It's not the plastic that makes it better; it's the mastering that went into it. And boy, you used to be able to buy those mastering machines for dirt cheap when everybody went to digital. I mean, dirt cheap. People were just almost giving them away because you had to have a place to put them. They cost money, so and everybody wanted Pro Tools or some shit. Anyway. Let's see. Castro's dead. Good riddance. Now there's this whole thing about the attack on Ohio State. When I woke up in the morning, Fox News said, "Oh, there's an active shooter in Ohio State," but it turned out to be the only guy with the guns were the police, and the active shooter was a guy with an SUV from Somalia, I guess, and who was killed, and he had a butcher knife. And so now they're trying to ban guns because of some guy with a butcher knife from Somalia at Ohio State University. Makes a lot of sense. They attack with a knife and you want to ban guns because guns are evil. Canadian jet fighter crashes during training. Salafists distribute Muhammad biography. I'm not an expert on the Salafists, but I know that in the Sinai, they smuggle stuff from the Red Sea to, into Gaza, or at least to the tunnels where they get smuggled from there into Gaza, which are getting harder. They're getting shut down, those tunnels. And I guess, depending on your point of view, that's either a good or a bad thing. But so this particular Salafist giveaway a Muhammad biography in several German cities over the weekend. Hope you enjoy your new immigrants. Germany recently banned the True Religion group, who handed out a fundamentalist version of the Quran. So my admittedly limited understanding is there are religious clerics that come up with modern interpretations of what the Quran means into the world, current modern world as it is, and they've been doing that ever since the Quran's been written. And so, so some groups follow, such and such a interpretation, and other groups follow another interpretation. So I guess the Salafis have their own version of what the Quran means that they're throwing out there, just to make. And if you don't follow their religion, that makes you bad. Their particular interpretation, that makes you a bad Muslim. Shit. So this is a German news website. Holocaust slowly clerks are not without guilt. DW's Jens Thoreau writes. I won't go into that. Sudan's soccer struggles. This is interesting. Hazda eco warriors fighting for their land. That would be a real interesting story, I bet. Let's see. Take a quick look. Hazda people is a wandering tribe threatened by other ethnicities. Fucking these people go. These Germans need to learn how to speak English, damn it. Threatened by other ethnicities who need space for farming, cattle grazing. They try to protect their ancient land with modern technology, like the bow and arrow. All right, well, there's a video on it there. This is on DW.com. Let me get to I got another screen share. Good luck doing anything on this. Right. So yeah, here's some pictures of run out of money after Indian banknote ban. There's a line, and I think there's actually some women in that line I see, which is very dangerous for them. But I think everybody's focused on money, not molesting the lady standing there and with all those men. There's some videos out there on the internet of guys just, like 300, 400, 500 guys just in a line and just crammed together. Just they open the bank and everybody just moves forward in a big surge. And yeah, there's one picture of a guy. So what the rules are, just so you understand, is that they can only turn in 2,000 rupiah, which is the $30 basically worth of current currency. So however much money you have, people didn't put it in the bank because the government would tax it, or negative interest rates or whatever. But and they have pretty onerous luxury taxes. If you have too much money, they will tax it. Basically, in India, that's how it works. And they have a 15% duty tax. If anybody imports gold, they have to pay a tax of 15% of its value. So people are smuggling in gold. They are doing it legally, and people were hoarding their money in safes in their mattresses, and then they just issued. I mean, probably if you've on my channel, you've heard this story somewhere or tuned into this chat, and you only had a few days to turn it in, and then the notes are worthless. And if nobody put their money in the bank, they had millions of dollars. And the people were, if you get caught with this money, then that makes you some kind of evil person. And all the rich people were begging for help from the poor people to deposit the money in their bank accounts and then give them like a percentage back or something. So like, here, I'll give you 200,000 rupiah and, keep 25% of it and give me the rest back like in a few weeks or something. And so they're begging their maids, their gardeners, farm workers, all the rich people are begging for help, because if they put it in their account, the government will take 60% of it. Your money will be guilty until proven innocent, and it won't be your money anymore. And they'll just say, okay, 60% tax because you were a black market and you were evading taxes. I mean, if they didn't have such ridiculous taxes, maybe people wouldn't have just. I mean, it's like a 90% cash society, and they just demonetized it. So, and guess what? In Australia is next, and they're doing that. Spain is looking to go all a cashless society, and right now in Australia, Citibank branches will not accept cash or pay out cash. They don't deal in cash at all. So you can't pay your mortgage in cash. You can't withdraw cash. You can't deposit cash. In Australia, it's Citibank. So this could be coming to a country near you. Spain is looking to this. All the countries that have problems, well, the government wants to control all the currency. And they want it to be all digital, no cash. So you have the government is in complete control of you. They can tax every transaction. They can, if you have too much money, they can tax you for having too much money. If they don't like the way you comb your hair, they can tax you for that. So this is about control. It's not about. But in India, obviously all the gardeners who have, and the lower income people, they all feel like they've been getting screwed over by the rich people, and this is class warfare. The prime minister says, they aren't paying their fair share, so they have to, which we've heard in our own campaign. So in politics, get the millionaires and billionaires to pay their fair share. Well, so all the currency is devalued, not devalued, demonetized completely. And you can there's a limit and you have to wait in these ridiculous lines like all day. And, and if you get out, if you cut in front, the police will beat you. If you, cheat or just are rude, they'll, beat you senseless. Or the army will. And everyone in the country had to go turn in their cash. And one guy, like I said before, died. If you find the picture of him, and nobody would help him because they would lose their place in line. They wouldn't get him a water or medicine or food or anything. And yeah, I'm sure if you look on YouTube, you'll see plenty of videos of people standing in line in India. And you have to bring your ID to turn in your 2,000 rupee old, notes to get the 2,000 new notes. The stores aren't accepting the old rupiah anymore, so people can't get food or medicine or anything. It's total state control, and basically everyone is instantly destitute because the money that they had, that they thought that was safe, like cash, right? I mean, everybody in the prepper community tells you to keep cash, which is probably not a terrible idea unless you're in India, because, it's fucking worthless. And, this is coming to a country near you very soon. So, yeah, this is just this internet search. You could see my favorite search engine. If I say the name, Google will just, this particular search engine, the Google will just, delete, like the part of the video audio where I speak the name. So you can look at it. But anyway, right. Whoa, there's one. Currency outside Axis Bank branch in central New Delhi, India. Yep. It's a flipping disaster. And they had to keep the secret when they printed up all the new notes so that the word wouldn't get out. And I guess everybody was focused on this. They originally did this on the day of the U.S. election. So sneaky timing, those sneaky bankers. I had some fun with the Illuminati Silver guy. He said he was talking about this, and he said, worldwide bankers are watching India with great interest. And so I made a comment in his chat. They're watching it with great interest, but they're not paying any interest. Paying attention, they're just not paying interest. Because if this works in India, for the bankers, it works out for the bankers, it will be done elsewhere. So this is the government taking total control over everyone. In some sense, guns are freedom, but also in some sense, money used to be freedom because it couldn't be tracked. You could do whatever you want with it. Give it to somebody. You could, and they wouldn't have to pay. If you give somebody $1,000, in cash, they stick it in their pocket. The government doesn't know about it. That's that. They don't have to pay any gift tax, anything, or if you buy something from somebody, you can pay them in cash, and the government doesn't get to regulate it, tax it, or anything. And so it's just, if this happens in America, it'll be cashless society. We'll all walk around with RFID chips implants, or it'll all be on your phone or your Google Wallet, or who knows. So anyway, I hope everybody had fun. I'm going to go look at the chat, and I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and got some Black Friday, watch some football. I liked Aretha Franklin's singing a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner national anthem on at the Detroit Minnesota game in Detroit Stadium. I'm not sure what the name of the stadium was, but she did a great job. And with all the controversy, it was just wonderful to hear Aretha Franklin sing it the way she did. And she had her own piano, and it was just beautiful piece of art. And all the players were just, doing fist pumps, and nobody took a knee, and it was just a beautiful thing. So if you can find that on YouTube, check it out. It's worth watching. Let's see. So what did I get for Black Friday, pre-Black Friday, and Cyber Monday? Today I bought some stuff from Blade HQ. Got a Tops Ranger knife and a bunch of other stuff, some of which may wind up in my tactical, either for presents for people I know, or tactical stocking stuff or giveaway for my channel. And one of them was this cool lighter with a knife, with an automatic out the front knife and a lighter all in one. Got a few of those to give away. And SKD Cyber Monday, I got a bunch of stuff from them. I was on the Early Watch show on Jimmy James' channel, and boy, let me get out here. I've got so many damn windows open. Right, I was on Jimmy James' channel, and I kind of shared my shopping cart on the Early Watch show on gun channels. Let's see, I got a high-speed HGSI or HSGI 2R dual taco mag, so I can basically have I have one of them on my bug out bag. If you've seen that video, on the left arm strap, but I wanted one that I could just put on my belt for a couple of AR mags. Few other things, shoulder pads for my water Camelback hydration bag, the Mule Camelback, and I picked up. Before that, I picked up some Pure Hydration, an inline filter for the hydration bag. Still waiting for a Chinese flashlight from GearBest to get here. Mo Mead from he's usually on the Fox Company prepping chats. He's said he was going to try and grab me a British magazine bag in the British camo pattern. Anyway, hey, there's a link in the video description if anybody wants to hop on and join the live chat. I think you have to have some Google Hangout add-on to do that. It takes 10 seconds to download it. Anyway, let's see. So I got a Pure Hydration travel bottle and an extra filter for the travel bottle, and also their armored bag, so that they sell. So I got 4 items from Pure Hydration. It'll probably take a couple weeks to get here from FedEx from the UK. It's a UK company. SKD, I bought a bunch of stuff from them, some tactical stockings for the giveaways, and geez, I don't even remember what the heck I bought. I'll have to go look. Let's punch up my email. All right, I see some lurkers there in the gun channel side. Dano's out there like usual. Yeah, Dano, it's a Transformer ICBM. I'm going to check the YouTube side really quick if I can get there. YouTube side, say, hey, I'm going to try and find the damn page here. All right, Blade HQ. How come there's stuff in still my Blade HQ part? I thought I bought everything already. All right. Let's close that. One second while I get all this. When you have like a billion windows up, it's hard to find anything on your computer screen. The wonders of live radio. Oh, right, the ant story. I got to punch that up in a minute. The coffee ants. There's actually ants that grow their own coffee trees. They're like farmer ants on Fiji, nonetheless. I think we need to import these Fiji ants. Damn, how do I get to my... Aha, okay. YouTube page. Hey, Madras Arsenal's out there. Swamp Donkey 530. Cash money works everywhere, not in India. Cash isn't money. Cash is currency. Thanks, man. And sending his POS aircraft carrier out. Yeah, he's got a piece of shit aircraft carrier, but obviously nobody wants to sink it because then they'd have, a country with Vladimir on their ass when he has a lot of nukes and an itchy trigger finger. I had Madras Arsenal. I had leftover turkey for dinner today. So and gravy, Costco turkey and Costco gravy. Still got leftovers, so that'll probably have turkey tomorrow too. I think I'll go pick up some salad or something. You'd be surprised. You say cash money works everywhere, but not in India, because there were some stories that people were in India would go with the cash before it expired to like the market where they buy their food and say like pay them. You just give them. Can I give you like $1 million for the food for all of next year right now? Or not dollars, but rupiah. So, like I said, 2,000 rupiah is $30. So they would probably show up, with like $1 million rupiah and say, "Can I buy all the food for this coming year now? The rest of the year now? How much money do you want for that?" Because they just wanted to dump their notes. They're actually dumping their money into the river. Because if they get caught with it, they'll be arrested. Police got in some chases and shootouts with these guys who had like in their cars were stuffed with suitcases that were full of 1,000 rupiah notes. And as soon as they would just get out of their car and just run away and leave their car with these suitcases full of notes, or people were just burning their money in big bonfires in India or dumping it into the Ganges River so they wouldn't be arrested, or charged with tax evasion. So that's that. Anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm gonna see if anybody out there in gun channels like you, Dano, wants to join up. I know that Jimmy James is out there at Golden Corral eating dinner instead of reporting to my hangout, but that's okay. Let's see. The ant story. This is being a very Hawaii coffee person. If I can find my way back to the YouTube hangout page, to kind of see it. Yeah. This one was a funny story. So here's these ants on the island of Fiji. And for millions of years, they've been perfecting their agriculture. Basically, they only harvest coffee seeds. And, scientists tried putting out different kinds of seeds, and the ants weren't interested in anything but the coffee seeds. And they've just learned that if they, guard the seedlings after they grow and they, fertilize them with defecating and urinating on the coffee plants. That fertilizes the seed, and then they just they can, after the grows into a tree, they can live inside the coffee tree. And so these are like coffee addict ants. I wonder if they would be of any use in fighting off the coffee borer beetle infestation we have on the Big Island. If they're any good at fighting beetles, because these ants will guard the seedlings for sure. Here's an ant milking what is this? These ants are actually milking aphids. And they protect them from the ladybugs. So, these are industrious ants. Anyway, I just never saw an ant that grew coffee trees before, so it was pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm a big coffee addict, so that's what I got to say about that. What else? Top stories. Justice Minister Heiko Maas worried fake news might affect the 2017 election. DW. Yeah, those Informed State of Mind, those are definitely my kind of ants. I mean, I'm such a coffee addict. I mean, I moved here almost for the coffee to the Big Island. They have such good coffee here. It's just amazing on the Big Island. Yeah, once the world goes cashless, are you aware there's no escape? I mean, unless you have gold and silver, which I did. That's one thing I forgot to mention. I did buy on Black Friday a gold eagle. Don't tell anybody. But I bought it, so whatever. But I think they haven't confiscated gold and silver yet in America, but in India they basically charge it to 15% duty, when they import it into the country. And India, especially in the wedding season, it's gold and silver are always bought, especially gold for the bride. It's a tradition. So in the wedding season, gold and silver is just a huge market, and people are smuggling it in now because they don't want to pay the 15% duty. And that's the same reason they were keeping money, So there's a little bit of class warfare. There's a little bit of government control, and all the bankers are watching how India turns out. If they can get the suckers, meaning the people, to actually think that this is a good idea because the evil rich people were hoarding their cash, So now everybody's poor. I mean, basically, I think the saying used to go that, the sign of a good economy is when the rich get richer and the poor get richer. But when everybody gets poor, when the rich get poorer and the poor get poorer, maybe it makes the poor happy because misery loves company, but it's just it's a lose-lose situation. And anyway, so yeah, I bought a gold eagle. The stuff from Pure Hydration. When I was at Costco, I picked up a new UPS power supply because my old one was like a dozen years old and the battery died. So got a new one. Let's see. So the SKD visit. I was going to look and see what the hell I bought from them. I don't even remember. Blade HQ. Right. There's that SKD order confirmation. All right. So I bought the HSGI X2R Taco double rifle magazine pouch, woodland pattern, some Christmas stocking stuffers. Oh, Orca Industries Captain America heater shield in color. A couple of those patches, basically. The kind of the America thing with the shield that Captain America uses. HSGI handcuff taco pouch. Yeah, I've got handcuffs and no pouch to carry them in, so that's been on my to-do list for a while. Belt covered belt mount Coyote Brown. Yeah, that was for this. That's like a padded straps for my uh, I got them for it's like padded straps because the Camelback Mule Hydration Bladder has just terrible straps. So I'm this is like some extra padded straps to make it bearable. And there will be review coming up on that, especially when the Pure Hydration filter gets here. I'm going to review that and the Camelback Mule Bag and what else? Just it's my lightweight, hiking pack or day mission pack. Some Chemlite, some blue, a 10-pack of Sia Luma, 6-inch Chemlite blue sticks, light sticks. Wait, that was a shoulder pads. What the hell was the? I don't even know what the hell I got. Tension bands, tactical boot socks, cushion socks, a hook hanger. Hey there, looks like I got a panelist finally showing up. Who's there?
Hey.
What's up, H?
Hey, it's Jimmy James from the Early Watch Show on gunchannels.com/Early Watch, and Dano from like every other show.
From here.
From what state are you back home in?
State
of confusion. Well, just like all of us, man.
Intoxication. State of rejects.
State of confiscation, almost. Yep. Or,
So what are you listing off? All the Christmas presents to you?
What's that?
What are you listing off? All the Christmas presents you're buying for yourself?
Well, actually, some of this stuff, I didn't list the Blade HQ. I think the Blade HQ stuff, a lot of that's going into the Christmas pack that I'm giving away. I'm actually going to do a giveaway on my channel, like some tactical stocking stuffers, and I'm going to do a giveaway for as soon as I get enough stuff. Because I don't know, people have been nice to me this year, and I just want to do something nice for someone else, some random person off the internet that watches my channel. So I'm just going to set up some kind of giveaway. So I bought some tactical stocking stuffers, and yeah, I got a new knife at Blade HQ. I got the Tops Ranger bootlegger, 1095 steel.
What is that?
All right, I'll link it for you.
We don't have to link it. You can just tell me. It's a boot knife. What is it?
Yeah, it's a Ranger boot knife.
Thank you. See, was that all that hard?
Well, but you asked me what it is, and now I feel like obligated to go find the damn thing.
And then you told me.
Yeah, HBS likes to make things a little bit more difficult than need be.
Wow. So how was you ate dinner at the Golden Corral, Jimmy, right?
Oh, yeah.
What you
it
have?
was scrumptious. I usually like to go for the steaks, and then I had me a plate of nachos and a big old fat bowl of ice cream.
Stuff that I can't eat anymore. Ice cream.
I have to admit, it's been a long time since I've been to a Golden Corral, but there's also a reason, because the last time I was at a Golden Corral.
What's that?
It was not a pleasurable experience.
Oh, did they say you couldn't bring your carry gunner in or something like that?
No. It was just low quality food, low quality service for low prices.
Yeah, that's why I usually stick to the steaks. They're pretty decent about their steaks.
I guess you have to know what to order.
Well, no, you don't order. You just kind of it's like buffet style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me when I was stuck in the damn retirement home, healing up from open heart surgery for 2 months, waiting, and they switched to buffets because I was doing better when they would just order something and they bring it to your table because it was a small portion. When you go to the buffet, you tend to just throw everything on there. So yeah. I was like, I lost 50 pounds when I was in the month that I was, or two that I was over there. And it was just because I was eating salads, when they had the buffets, I would just fill it up with salad, but I wouldn't eat anything that I wasn't allowed to eat. So
were you able to make any new buddies at the retirement center?
Well, there was one Republican lady there who sat down at my table, and she was a 90-year-old, and her family was like trying to get rid of her, so they could sell her house off because her husband had died, and she just needed, I don't know. She was the only Republican there. Everybody else were flipping Democrats, and I had one friend who was a Filipino veteran in the Filipino regiment, but he just hates Republicans, for his own reasons. And, I told him I was voting for Trump, and he went flying into a rage, and he was like, God forgive you, ran screaming, whatever, it's like, everybody's like crazy Democrat blue over here. So there's one Republican lady that I could talk to. And I met some girls when I was walking down to the beach and I'd walk to the beach every day, basically, to get the hell out of there. And spend most of the day just walking up and down the beach. And a lot of pretty girls would bring by their dogs to Okulio Beach on Oahu. And yeah, I met a few pretty girls. One was a waitress at the Kona Brewing Company on Oahu at a pub there. And naturally, she's like 22 years old, 23. She was very pretty. And we could talk about my favorite subject, beer. Because she worked at Kona Brew Pub and she knew all the Kona Brew Company beers. So I could talk to her about beer, and because I was like, recovering from open heart surgery, I could walk up and she was like, oh, I'll talk to this guy, and just everybody would bring their dogs. That beach is like, the water is about 1 or 2 inches deep, and you could just walk out like 500 yards before, on soft sand and 1 or 2 inch deep water, to where the surf actually breaks and it starts to fall off into, deeper water. And the dogs would just run around. She had two. Well, there's this other girl that I met there that she was older and married, but I think her husband was a submariner at sea, and she just wanted, I don't know, she liked me or something. So we talked. She'd bring her labs, and her Labradors were like water. The Labradors were water dogs, because what would happen is there's these little schools of fish that would swim in the like 1 or 2 inch deep water, and when the dogs saw these little schools of fish, they would go crazy and run at the fish, and then the fish would see the dogs and they would just explode. This burst of speed, and the dogs would just manically chase them, throughout the water, and it was fun. It's, that was a lot of my exercise, and basically I was just going to the hospital twice a week, and that retirement place had two things that I needed: a medical bus to the hospital. It was on Honolulu because there's no cardiac rehabilitation program on any of the outer islands, and they had a kitchen staff who could do all the shopping, because for the first month, I had sternum restrictions, and the first month or two after the operation, I couldn't use my arms to get up or do anything. So, and I couldn't sit in the front of a car to go shopping for food or stuff like that.
I
the
can't
airbag
wait.
explodes. What?
I can't wait till this chapter ends up in your book so I can read it.
You don't want me to just talk about it? I have to
Hawaii
write a book.
memoirs.
The notes of the Hawaii Volcano Squad.
My days with the super elderly.
Well, actually,
Hell at a retirement home.
and Nurse Ratched. I was gonna make it. I could write a movie about the Nurse Ratched in that place. Was really funny as I was, like,
Don't let me slow you down.
the first week I was there. You all saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You remember with
Uh-huh.
and the Nurse Ratched, and I don't know if you remember that character, but so basically, after my surgery, the doctor says, okay, you have to walk to get better. You have to walk to get better. So, and that's what I did, and so I did that at the hospital when I was at the rehab hospital. When I got out of the rehab hospital Pacific, I went to that Hawaii Kai Retirement Center, and with everybody there I was like 90 years old about, and, goes there to die or something. But, and so I do what I was doing at the hospital. I would get up at, 1 or 2 in the morning and get out. They gave me a walking stick, so I would take my, would get up, put on my shorts, take a walking stick, throw on a shirt, and it was a metal cane that they gave me, and just in case I needed it for balance. Because if you fall down and you can't use your arms to get up, it's you have to use your core. So it's you don't want to lose your balance. So they gave me a stick. I didn't really need it, but so I was walking down the hallway.
Excuses.
I was walking down the hallway, and apparently I walked by the nursing station, and at this like nursing station area and it's like also a dining area for one section of and so of the assisted care elderly people that live there. And so I stopped by because they had a little little station where you could get some hot water and a tea bag. And so I made myself a cup of tea, but the water wasn't hot. So I went to the other side of the room, and it's like this little dining area, and there was a little alcove with a microwave. So I thought, okay, I'll just put this in the microwave and heat it up. Right? Just 30 seconds to the microwave. The thing goes ding, because after 30 seconds up, okay, I got hot tea. I get the tea out, and as soon as it goes ding, from the shadows of this alcove, this girl who was sleeping, the employees, wakes up instantly and assumes I'm there to rape her.
Were you standing over her?
No, I'm sitting there. I'm just fucking. I didn't even know she was there. She was in the shadows, sleeping in the corner, and which they're allowed to do, I guess. At 3 a.m. Yeah, but and so. I was just literally taking out my tea out of the microwave, and the thing went ding, and then so they chew me out for that's an employee microwave that's not for the residents, and I'm not allowed to walk in that particular area. And I'm like, hey man, we're paying $3,500 a month for this place. You tell me I can't walk down the fucking hallway? It's like 50 yards from my door of the because it's like a big everybody has their own room, or pretty much, and it's like a bunch of little apartments in a building with some dining areas and 3 levels and an elevator, and some stairs. And so and so then the head nurse starts giving me grief, and so I'm like, what the fuck? Whatever. I'm just walking because that's what my doctors told me to do. And it's like, you can't use the micro, because they thought I was out there to rape her. I could barely, I was still just, I couldn't walk more than down the hallway. This was like the first week I got out of the freaking hospital. I couldn't walk to the beach, a mile and a half outside then. So this was my exercise to get more and more strength. A little bit, you walk a little bit farther every day. It was just like, so this girl assumed that I was there to rape her or something. I mean, I had my nitroglycerin, medication in my pocket, and I was just walking and I made a cup of tea, and she totally freaks out. So the next day I walked down the same corridor, and as soon as I walked by, the nurse calls security. So, the security guy shows up, takes one look at me, and decides, I don't want to fight this guy. And of course, I have my, metal walking cane, which would make an absolutely great Eskrima stick if I needed to choke the guy out or something. But he was like, you want to go with me for a walk? So every time I would walk down that one hallway, that was like the head nurse, the head night nurse person, I mean, I wasn't on, assisted living. I was just somebody who rented a room at the place for 2 months because they had a kitchen staff, and I needed some place that had that, because, so I could, and they had a medical bus that would take you to your, the Queens Hospital, where I was doing like a rehab program where they put you on a treadmill and you lift weights. And so, but every time I would walk by, she would down that hallway, she would call security. And the security people started calling her Nurse Ratchet, not me. And then I picked up, and so one time I'm just sitting there.
She had to have some lame, but she had to have some sort of reason as to why she said you were scaring her.
She probably
No.
overheard one of your stories one day about pretty girls.
The 13-year-old by the no, that wasn't it. I was literally just getting a cup of tea, heating up a cup of tea. Well, it's like, well, you have a microwave in your room. It's like,
I
whatever,
understand
man.
the first time. I'm talking about the second and third time when Nurse Ratchet, she had to say, "You're."
Well,
doing
here's
this-
what happened the third time. I went downstairs. They have the Hawaii Star advertiser, whatever the main Honolulu paper is now. They merged and one bought out. There's only one paper now there, and it's naturally has a left-wing editor. But I picked it up and I sat down at the main table there. There's like this one community table, and there's like a and naturally, usually the nurses hang out there, but none of them were there. And so I was just reading the paper for an hour. I was just literally just reading the paper. And I got hungry because that day, earlier in the day, it was like they had a special brunch, but they had like no breakfast or lunch. And I missed the brunch. So I was hungry. So I went to the area where they keep little snacks and stuff. And
it's not your area.
It's the employee area, and they had this little bag of green Kit Kat bars, and so I took. I mean, these are like the super small, like trick or treat ones, and size. So there was a bag, and it was a huge bag, but there's only like about 5 or 6 left. So I took the bag and ate them all. And apparently these, then I, put the bag back later, and I went back and I just read the paper. So I was sitting there. And like about a half an hour later, so I'm there for about an hour and a half, just reading the paper, minding my own business, quietly reading and doing nothing. So this nurse comes there with this empty, big Kit Kat bar bag, right? And the head nurse, Nurse Ratchet, shakes the Kit Kat bar at me, the bag of Kit Kat bars, and it's empty. She just shakes it in my face and said, I brought these Kit Kat bars all the way from Japan. And they're her favorite green. Most Kit Kat bars don't have the green Japanese wrapper or something, but they're Kit Kat bars. Total cost of 6 little Halloween sized bars, 50 cents. But she's angry because I ate her Kit Kat bars, so I offered to buy her some new Kit Kat bars, and then she calls security. and the security guys, okay, you're going to keep, walking down this hallway, get you pick a different hallway to walk down. It's like, okay, guys, I'll walk down a different fucking hallway, but I needed to walk. And eventually when I got to the point where I could just walk to the beach and back, when I was strong enough to do that, then I didn't have to walk down the hallway at night, because I would use up all my energy walking up and down the beach, talking to pretty girls, but it was so funny when she just waved the empty
Apparently not.
Kit Kat bars back at me.
So when did you have enough energy to do more than just the walk, but actually give her the special finger?
I think, what happened was I was there when I got out of the rehab hospital. I went to the Hawaii Kai Retirement Center, and I was there for about a month just waiting for the healthcare company to do the paperwork to approve the rehab program, cardiac rehabilitation, which they always approve, but the paperwork takes them a month. So I literally had to pay $3,500 to stay in Honolulu for the first month, because they just it took them that long to go through the paperwork. And then I had to stay another month to do the actual program, and of basically going twice a week to the cardiac rehab. They hook you up to an EKG. They put you on a treadmill for half an hour, and it's every time you go, it's faster and steeper incline, and then you lift weights for another half an hour, and then you go home. And and they monitor your EKG the whole time. And you do that twice a week. And then after I had done that on the treadmill, I think it was almost a month, but I went from like The Walking Dead to like a regular person, like in that month. And it was really helpful to have the kitchen staff who I almost I scared one of the waiters to death. I swear, because they're used to dealing with 90-year-old people, right? And they just, move you I mean, if you ever wonder what's going to be like when you retire, and my dad went to looking, and I said, "Dad, do not move into one of these places," and because he would just destroy these people. Because I learned how to explode people from my dad, who did it professionally. But so basically, I'm recovering like the first week, and if it, I can't talk or laugh or I'm sensitive to temperature, and if somebody just walks by who just had put their clothes in the scented laundry with like Tide or something, I would start sneezing and coughing, and then my chest incision would just hurt like hell, and I mean soul searing pain that would just shatter your soul. I mean, because they basically saw your chest in half for that operation. Literally, they take your sternum and they saw it in half, and then they put a little wire and hold it back together. So this
five times. I mean, literally.
This I know. But it was so. I'm sorry, Dano.
Literally sawed 5 times.
Let me get to the funny part. So they have this on this special day. This is like before the escapade with the Kit Kat bars. What led to it is in the morning they were having some kind of special brunch, so they had all these tables set up for a special event, all the normal dining room tables. So they herded everybody when they woke up first thing in the morning to this section of where they wanted everybody to sit down and have their breakfast or coffee or whatever they had there, and it was right by all these open windows, and the air outside was like just the wind was blowing in, and it was freezing cold. So I tried to sit down where they wanted me to, and I started coughing, and it really hurt. So I got up and I walked away, and I sat down at one of their pre-prepared tables, where I wasn't supposed to sit because they had set it up for some special event. So I sit down at this table, and I'm just drinking a cup of coffee because it wasn't near the freezing cold air that made me cough and cause incredible pain. So I explained that to like 5 or 6 waiters in a row who told me I couldn't sit where I was sitting.
Why didn't you go back to your room?
Because I wanted something for breakfast. I wanted a cup of coffee and a bowl of cereal or something, anything for breakfast. So, but I wasn't eating in their designated area by the freezing cold air, So I explained it to 5 guys that, if I sit there, I'll start coughing, and I'll, and they told, the staff had already, the first day that I got to said, okay, you sit here because the chair is up against this like pillar so the chair can't back up. All the chairs there moved around, but they put me up in the special sitting.
Really worked out well for you.
Wait, let me get to the good part of the story. I know it's taken forever, but so finally this one waiter who doesn't speak English very well and who doesn't understand it, if you've ever worked with people that don't speak English, which I did, if they want to make you happy and you tell them that you want them to do something and you explain it to them, but they didn't understand, they'll shake their head and say, yeah, even though they didn't understand a fucking thing you just told them. They'll say, yeah, no problem. If you like, can you please do this, that, and the other? And then,
I feel their pain.
And so
I do. I really feel their pain.
So this guy who doesn't speak English hardly at all, understand a word I'm saying, comes up to me, and I know he doesn't speak English. I understand the word I'm saying. And he says, and he doesn't even look at me. He just takes his hand and points at me and waves at me and directs me to where I'm supposed to be sitting. Like I'm a cow that he's hurting or something. So then I ignored him, and he gets up and said, you have to move or something like that. You can't sit here. Cannot sit here, and so I just get up and I say as loud as I possibly can say, no. The guy like jumps 10 feet high. I mean, I said no so loud they probably heard it like 3 buildings away. The guy jumps 5 feet high and just for the whole rest of the time that I was there, he was just either afraid of me that I was going to kill him, or he was, and this is the guy that brings me my food half the time, right? So, or he was trying to fuck with me and make it so I couldn't sit in the seat that I was always sitting in the same place, and it really annoyed the hell out of people, because they thought, well, wait, first of all, this guy doesn't want to talk to anybody because he's always sitting at this one spot and he doesn't sit where other people are. They thought I don't like old people or something, and I didn't want to talk to anybody or something. No, I wanted to sit in that chair because it was up against a pillar, and all the chairs that they had in the entire dining room were on rollers, and if I got up and the chair rolled out from under me, before I can't use my arms to get back up, I could, break my sternum, and so I was sitting in this chair, and the staff, the managers, had set it up like that way. But the kitchen staff is run by a kitchen person, and that's her. That's like the Nurse Ratched of the kitchen. So it was just a constant battle. I mean, you have no idea when you move into a place like that what losing your freedom is.
So is the funny part coming, or did we already go by it?
It was the part where the poor waiter was sitting in front.
I waited all this time and I missed it. Damn it!
I'm having a hard time believing that you pissed people off on purpose, Hawaii. It couldn't be you.
I didn't piss people off on purpose. The guy, I just didn't. I told him, I told all 5 of the waiters that I can't sit there because it's freezing and I have an incision and I'll cough and I'll wind up in the emergency room. I'll wind up in the ER. And the guy who didn't speak English didn't even know what the hell an ER was. It's like, I don't want to go to the ER just because you don't want me to sit here. So it's just, well, you have, when you move into that one of those, it's a nice, expensive $3,500 a month place. You sign an agreement, and it's like being in prison. It's institutional living. It is
socialized medicine.
It's institution. It wasn't, so I kind of felt sorry for everybody that was in there. You
were fighting becoming institutionalized.
Definitely. It's an institution. So you don't want to ever be in prison, because I know exactly what it's like. And I really wanted my father not to ever have, because they're paying insurance,
I never want to be in prison, but it's for a very different reason.
Yeah, I don't want to be in prison because of the whole rape part.
Jimmy nailed it on the head.
Yeah, so but my dad pays insurance because he's 83, and he's like, well, if he gets to 105 and he needs help to do things, I said, you can't bring guns into that place, you can't, and some waiter will, or some Nurse Ratched will, tell you what hallway you can and can't walk down. It's institutional living, and the people that work at the institution have a certain amount of control over you, and sometimes they choose to exercise it for no good reason at their own whim.
It's Animal Farm, absolutely.
So it was like Nurse Ratched. It was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in that place. But I was doing even better there, though, than I am doing on my own, because they had a kitchen staff, and especially when they had controlled portions, I would say, okay, I just pick the healthy things from the menu, and I lost 50 pounds in a month, or actually it was like almost 3 weeks. I lost 50 pounds. So it was like amazing. And in between walking to the beach, that was my therapy, walking to the beach every day. I think people want me to talk to the war on cash some more, though, and not about Nurse Ratched at the retirement place. Let me see if anybody's actually out on the YouTube channel. I'm sorry, guys. I was having too much fun.
I can tell you, nobody's saying anything over on gun channels because there's been nothing said about guns.
Yeah. Oh, well, we got to talk about guns because I'm a gun guy, but it was really funny. It was talking about underground currency. I think informed state of mind. Sorry if I got off the currency topic, guys, or guns or whatever I'm supposed to be talking about.
When I was driving home, I heard something about you saying about ants that poop on your coffee and grow their own coffee or something like that.
Yeah. I'll give you the link. It was I screen shared it earlier here. Copy.
That made me glad that I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
Well, no, they basically grow the trees from the seeds, and then they live in the trees.
Okay.
Can you see the internal chat? I'll post it there, or I can post it.
I'm on my laptop.
There you go. Yeah, that was really interesting story. And basically, these ants in Fiji, they grow their own coffee trees, literally, and they live in them. They raise them. They guard them. You know, when there's little seedlings, and they grow up, and there's little nicks and notches and crevices that the ants can have a queen and have an ant hive home in. So there's a story on it. And since I'm a big coffee guy, I actually did pick up a bunch of Molokai coffee at Costco too. They had a gigantic bag of it there. It's okay. I usually prefer a Hualalai Kona Peaberry coffee. They sell it online or at the local Walmart because it's a Big Island thing. But I'm waiting for my AK mags. Does anybody know? I know Island Z says that I know that Primary Arms doesn't ship to Hawaii. Magazines, rifle mags, but I'm hoping that Palmetto State Armory does, because I ordered 20 AK mags from them with the Croatian metal ones with the followers that they did on your show a couple days back. I think it was Thursday. It was the day before Black Friday on your early watch show. I think Moon Food had spotted that deal out for $6.90 each if you buy 20 of them. So for steel magazines with bolt hold open followers, although I don't really need a bolt hold open follower,
Yeah, that's the only reason why I ended up passing on those mags, is because I don't really like that feature.
Yeah, but so you were saying you could actually cut the bolt hold open thing off of it if you really wanted to.
There's a little piece that sticks up on the back of the follower, and you can actually file it down if you wanted to. Or another option would be to just find different followers and put them in. That's fairly easy to do.
You're talking about the Yugo mags?
Yeah, but they're actually Croatian. These ones.
Okay.
Yeah, they were on Palmetto State Armory, so basically $136 for 20. It comes to $16.99 each.
It does no harm. So if somebody doesn't like it, I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I just thought for that amount of magazines, I'll never run out of magazines now. I had a lot before. And basically a guy from the I was talking about it on a UK bushcrafting chat, which they started talking about the Fox Company prepping guy did. Anyway, how can I not stay on track? I talked about it on UK chat, and a nice guy who has a YouTube channel there called Mo Mead send me a magazine, British Army magazine grab bag. With a British camo pattern, and so I could either stick all my AR or all my AK magazines in it. And I bought like a $20 600 Dernier pouch from Gear Best, and I have all my magazines there. But if I have to add 20 more, they won't fit. So I guess whenever it gets here, I'm awaiting 2 packages from Britain. The one from Pure Hydration with the stuff that I bought from them, and then the free magazine pouch that Mo Mead is getting me. So anyway, I feel like doing a giveaway for the holidays. So when the national debt hits 20 trillion, hopefully just in time for Christmas, I'll do a giveaway of a tactical stocking stuffer with a bunch of stuff in it. Because I got some tactical, socks, those Christmas stocking deals, and you've probably seen them on the internet, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're giving away the actual stocking?
And I'm going to put stuff in it, though, like knives and lighters and some prepping gear.
Oh, man, that's a great giveaway. I didn't see those things for cheaper than like $9.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were... SKD had them on sale for, cheaper, I think.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like doing something nice for somebody else that I don't know. Because people have been doing nice things for me all year.
So now with the giveaway, how are you going to work? Are you going to do some kind of a quiz or?
No, I'm not going to do it's not going to be like your
number of hours co-hosting.
Number of hours co-hosting. Oh, come on, Danny. You haven't done that many hours hosting my show.
Well, who has?
Who has? Oh, God. I don't know. It's just whoever shows up, whoever shows up, I put if anybody that's listening wants to jump on, the links in the video description.
I just got to remember to hurry up, click, jump in, pause, mute my mic and then head out for the night.
That's what you want to do. That's okay with me, Dana.
That's what I refer to as pink style.
Ghost hosting. Ghost hosting.
Yeah.
Ghost hosting. Yeah. Pink's lobby room. He does it like that, you know. But it's the lobby. People show up and, you know,
Yeah.
it meanders around on topic to topic.
Yeah.
But so do you want to talk about guns or the cashless society? Do you think America is going to go 100% cashless too?
Well, virtually, we're already virtually cashless.
Yeah, but that link
Yeah, in
that
a
you
sense, yeah.
I mean, you get from a traditional job, you get a check, you don't get cash. You take it bank, you deposit it in an account. How do you spend it? With either a debit card or a credit
and
card.
they encourage you to put it in the IRA too. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, very little of your payday ever actually sees the light of paper money. Which is why you see the discrepancy that I pointed out before you started the chat of how there's just over 1 trillion in actual paper cash, yet we have just under 20 trillion in debt.
yeah, no,
So
and about
if
75
we
trillion.
confiscated every physical dollar there was, we could only pay off just over 1/20th of the debt.
Yeah, what is the
Jeez.
GDP of America? I mean, plus the unfunded liabilities, you know, like, you know, the healthcare, veterans, you know, all that stuff is like 75 trillion, you know. So,
Well, yeah,
and those are debts too that, you know, we got
But-
to pay. So,
I mean, we're already, you know, what we got 80% of the way there.
yeah, what I want to do is if when we hit 20 trillion, that's when I want to give away the tactical stocking stuff first.
Well, just
I'll like put a 1 ounce silver bar in there or something, and you know, and some knives and shit like
change
that.
your homepage on your browser to what is it? The U.S. debt clock.
No, because I've tried putting it on, I think, on the last chat, and it just killed the chat. It's like nobody could hear what I was saying. It's going up so fast. It just sucked out all the debt. USDebtClock.org just sucked out all the bandwidth on my internet.
Yeah.
The numbers keep going up so fast, you know, and there's a lot of numbers on that, you know, display on that webpage. I mean, so I don't think it's a good thing to throw up. I mean, I've been on chess before where it didn't kill everything, but it seems to be killing it now. And of
Are
course,
you actually serious when you're saying that?
yeah, I've had the debt clock up on on Google Hangouts before, and it hasn't just crashed everything like it did like last week. Where everything, people were saying they couldn't hear me when after I put up the debt clock because it just took up too much bandwidth. So I don't know, maybe it's the other people in my building are using a bunch of bandwidth. But as soon as I put up the debt clock last week,
Well, I think you answered the question right there without even realizing you're on a shared connection.
no, I'm not. I mean, it's just, I mean,
You just said
I'm in a
other
building.
people in your building.
well, yeah, I mean, there's a router, you know, for this,
Yeah.
you know,
And where do you
condo.
think your cable goes? Station
To
by
the-
its lonesome?
No, there's a router at the for this building 3 at the
Yep.
in the on the like the lawn underneath the condo lawn. There's a little
Right.
box where they go to something
Oh
goes
yeah,
wrong.
that'll kill it, man. Because I remember I I didn't used to have a password on my Wi-Fi, and then when I actually put one on,
Your neighbors loved you.
Oh yeah, but when I put one on, dude, it raised up 100%. I'm like, oh wow, man, my computer's actually fast.
Now your neighbors were all bummed out.
Yeah, somebody moved in here. Somebody just moved into the complex. They asked me, "Can I use your Wi-Fi?" It's like I don't even turn my Wi-Fi on. My Wi-Fi on my router is off. You know, and so yeah, so I bought a Gold Eagle for the Black Friday from JM Bullion for I don't know. I mean, it's the gold is still under 1,200. You know, it hasn't gone over it, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's like it's just the future is.
Well, I did have some additional funds from my Tulsa trip, and so I did go ahead and buy some about a handful, not a lot.
Would you buy it when you were in Tulsa? Because I thought you said you bought it at like when you were there in
I
Tulsa.
bought it afterwards. It was money I had left over.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I actually have a little bit of experience with this now. I was just messing around and I saw these. I don't know if you guys have ever saw them. They're solid silver bullets, 999%.
Yep.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a couple of them, and the guy was telling me, he was like, "Man, I don't know why the prices haven't raised up yet." I guess he was saying in November after the elections. I don't know why, but he was expecting all the prices on gold and silver to start.
It did. It did for about a couple 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
It did, and then then the gold cartels, and there was a Trump rally. The stocks went up and gold went down, and gold got crushed by the gold cartels. But it did go up for about 3 or 4 or 5 hours. It spiked, and stock markets crashed and cratered, and gold and metal spiked. But the U.S. market was closed. By the time the U.S. market opened,
back around to the U.S. market, it had already recovered.
Yeah, and it was starting to go up, and we had that little Trump rally. But if you watched it when the returns were coming in, that's how I knew Trump won, because gold spike and the Dow futures were limit down. It was like, what was it, down 850 points, Dow futures, when that's when you knew that Trump won. But then that was in the Asian markets, and by the time the U.S. markets opened, it was Dow was up a couple hundred points instead of down 800. Yeah. I mean, it helped that they stopped trading. You could not. What are the rules for limit down on the Dow Jones futures? It's like you can't short it anymore or something. It's been a while since I did any of that kind of trading.
I forget. They used to call them circuit breakers, but I forget what they are now, because they've changed the rules on them several times since 1987 crash.
Right.
Which luckily I only lost half of everything I had.
Yeah.
Half.
I love some days you would wake up and I'd be up like, 10 or lost. Like one time I woke up and I put everything on RF micro devices on a day trade or an overnight trade, and I woke up and they had an earnings report that came out good, and I gapped up $15,000. I said thank you, sold everything I had. It's like, but I lost it all back later, so whatever. That was when I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Marina Del Rey for Thanksgiving. I remember that.
I went from nice hotels to Motel 6.
And now you're an Uber driver.
Now I'm an Uber driver.
All right.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So, do we talk about money or guns?
It's your show, Hawaii.
Well, but you run a show too, and it's help.
Well, yeah, that's 6 hours though.
Yeah, it's like
I'm running dry on about hour 4.5.
You mean you can't? I know it's. I know. So I usually come. Do I help at all out on your show or something, or just am I just?
You definitely start a few arguments here and there. No, I'm just joking with you, man. We love having you down there.
Yeah, it's like arguing with Tony about 22 long range as a battle rifle, but.
Now, something that, it actually started, actually, before there was gun channels is when I had noticed this trend, when we all used to get together on just, we had to subscribe to each other to figure out who was doing a chat that night.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of times we'd have chats with not necessarily any topic. Is that, and something I had heard when I was in going to school. At the university, every 20 to 30 minutes in a conversation, there's a natural lull in any conversation before it will then either pick up on a different or similar topic. And I've noticed that same sort of thing in chats, where they're unstructured. In other words, it's not topic A, topic B, topic C. Like in the daily chat, we have something next to go to, and when we eventually get to the end, the show's over. We're not going
Right.
by a time. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
you have-
we got an hour and a half to fill, and we have to make up time.
Right. Well, see, now with me, I'll do about 4 or 5 hours of research at night when I get home, and it only ends up being about an hour or two worth of conversation during the day. So, yeah, that I can definitely see that how
Well,
the unstructured part comes in.
As much as I like you doing your show, a concern I have long term is that you may burn yourself out.
The early watch show? The early watch show?
I mean, because I can see between show prep and because there's that natural pressure of when you have dead air
To fill it, yeah.
Whether it's doing things like that, and say, well, just a moment, I'm looking through. Let me click on this. Okay, my computer's a little slow. I mean, you're just basically filling time.
All right, stand by while I take a shot of vodka after I tap my Glock.
Yeah,
stand by to stand by.
And that can be very, very stressful and very wearing if you don't realize what's going on.
Yeah, but after a while, we just get used to babbling on. I mean, and what I do now is I try. I watch the news all week, and then on Monday, if there's something interesting that happened, then I'll have a list of things and I'll talk about. Like I watch other people's YouTube channels, and because I subscribe to them, they subscribe to me, and I watch all their channels. And if something interesting was on one of their channels, I'll talk about that, and it'll be related to news, and I'll research the news. But I mean, when I first started, my first few chats, I would actually write out a script with either actual dialogue or points that I wanted to talk about, or I'd actually write out a speech. But that didn't work, and now I just have a general concept of what I watched during the week, and what you get is like a 1 week condensed into a 1 hour stream of consciousness of interesting shit that happened.
Something I just want to throw out there for you, Jimmy, is there, and this may have already happened, but if the audience, their participation back to you doesn't just seem to be happening, or other panelists just don't really have much to say, or you don't necessarily have any ideas, being on air because you're trying to reach a certain time goal can actually be counterproductive.
Right.
Well, it helped when I was on oxycodone.
Okay. But to do it for as long as you're enjoying it and things are going well, but rather than say, okay, I'm committing to X amount of hours doing it, I'm committing to a certain amount of enjoyment and fun.
Well, it's the time of day, though, because when you wake up in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, you naturally, it's a first show and you have energy. I don't know what time it is, what time is your show is, but I just wake up, the sun's coming up when your show just starts, or it hasn't come up yet. And I'm just having my first cup of coffee and regaining consciousness. And for the last few shows, I was, on oxycodone and coffee because I had a prescription for it.
I'm saying this from the host point of view. Granted, from a listener point of view, I enjoy not having to put any effort into it and just listen.
Well, no, but I was participating though. I was participating though and trying to help fill the dead air.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, see, I understand what you're doing, Dano, because lately, I mean, I don't expect anybody to sit through the whole 6 hours anyway. But lately, we've been just pretty much, I'm ending it 15, 20 minutes early. When the conversations have kind of been going lately, and that's due to the text chats and the people coming in, jumping in, helping out live. But I'm trying to set up a little bit of structure, but I haven't, and I'm sure it'll come. Don't get me wrong, but I just haven't felt a stress factor of it yet.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, but I have been ending it early lately, about 20, 30, 15 minutes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
If the conversation dries up, nobody has anything to add in, I'll,
I came today.
Promote gun channels, promoting you guys, say, catch the Daily Show, they're coming up next, and call it a day.
Like when I came onto your show, I had thought of that, Rocky Horror Picture, gun quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, before, because of what I did the day before. Thanksgiving weekend. I watched football on Thanksgiving. Then they had the after the first game and the Aretha Franklin singing the national anthem at the Detroit Stadium. Then I watched the John Wayne marathon, and then I watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show marathon. And so, he uses a gun when he shoots. When Riff Raff shoots Dr. Frank-N-Furter, and there's I bet nobody on of course Sean Connery got it, but I bet it's not on Internet Movie Firearms Database, so I bet nobody will get that one, and nobody did until Sean came along and said he figured it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he did that, but what kind of laser does the gun shoot, or what does a gun shoot? And somebody said a laser. Yes. Yeah. Can you be more specific? What kind of laser? Antimatter? Or it's like, oh yeah, okay, he got it.
Yeah, and also too, Daniel, your guys' show, the Daily Gun Show, helps me out a lot because I'll get a couple topics and just kind of take a different spin on them, or I'll recycle topics that I've already talked about, kind of, So it's been pretty fun, and everybody else that joins in, like I said, whether the text chats or even just different chats on different times of the day, everybody on Gun Channels has been real supportive and helping me out. So I haven't honestly, my first 3-4 shows when I was pretty much running it by myself for the first couple hours, that was rough, but now it's getting a lot better now.
I could bring my Tavor to show tomorrow if that helps. It's everybody hate on it or something. Got my Tavor and just crank
good Tavor.
Crank the charging handle a few times just to piss everyone in the text chat off.
One positive thing I will say about your Tavor, I watched the charging handle or the deflector that you put on there. I like how you got that Cerakoted or however you painted it, that camouflage.
Yeah, I did a video on that camouflage paint job. It's basically just what the hell paint is it? Krylon. Okay. And then when I was done with the multiple coats of Krylon, I did it. I did a clear matte coat to make it dull, so it would be less shiny, which you don't want shiny things if you don't want shiny paint if you're trying to make it camouflage. But I wanted that. The whole idea of that gun is, if the way I painted is that, well, it's an urban fighting rifle, but I want to be able to jump into the jungle with my tiger stripes and have it disappear, and I want to become invisible. I want the ability to become invisible, right?
There you go.
That's why I did it like that. I want to be able to walk into the jungle and disappear completely.
He wants to be a predator.
Exactly. Predator. I just want to disappear. I don't want to be the prey, is what it is. I don't want to be the prey. Okay, if I'm not the prey, I'm the predator. But that's why I painted that rifle that way. That's why I have tiger stripes, and I did a tiger stripe test, but I didn't have my Tavor with me because you can't bring that to California because it's a communist state. Fuck. So you could kind of see the barrel of my dad's John Wayne Winchester edition, Centennial John Wayne edition, Winchester 1892, when I was doing my tiger stripe in the California foliage camo test on the Behind Enemy Lines tour. But really, if you go into the jungle with that thing, you can just disappear. Unless they have thermal or thermal, then they aren't going to see you. And if they have thermal, you're a dead duck. So it's night vision is on my list of stuff too. But
you can find that stuff kind of fairly cheap.
Good night vision. I mean, bad night vision you could find cheap. Good night vision, not so
well.
much.
Good night vision, cheap to me is like a couple $100.
Yeah.
And that's just the one eye, one reticle,
Yeah, so like the dark 30, dark 030 or 0 dark 30, whatever the fuck it was. That night vision is probably like
in the thousands,
$10,000 or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that high, but probably in the thousands for sure.
Is the company Fleur the one that makes that stuff?
I don't know if they're the one that. I don't think they made the 0 dark 30 kind. I'm not sure what company makes that one. But I know that you got to sign one of those, you can't export it to another country deals.
ITAR.
ITAR.
Yeah.
What does ITAR stand for? International Trafficking of
Technology
Technology. Yes, 2 more letters.
Agreement Regulations or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, can't give it to the bad guys. And what's ironic is I bought an optics mount for my Bulgarian Midwest Industries. It's a side mount, and I had to agree to an ITAR.
I know. They make you sign it for like everything now.
It's like it's a side.
Oh yeah, seriously, man.
If you buy like a Fresnel lens magnifying glass, they'll make you sign an ITAR agreement. Oh,
it's like I'm buying a grand total of 1. What do you think? I'm fencing it?
yeah. All right, so I'm taking a few shots of vodka because we had the Russian Satan missiles on at the start of the show. You missed that. Let me do the screen share again of that. I think. Wait a minute. Where is it at? Oh, the Sputnik page, right?
Here's a nice little optic too. I'm putting on the side chat. It's similar. It's the same brand that I have. I can't say that it's the same
Cabela's
one.
The spotting scope
for it's
Viper X monocular.
Night vision.
Oh, you're getting a night vision monocular, right?
No, I got mine at Bass. I didn't get it at Cabela's, but it's about the same price and it's the same brand.
Now, is this your first night vision piece, or have you been into it for a while? Night vision?
I've been into it for a while. I like to go hunting, but this is the first one that I've actually ever purchased.
We're not allowed to hunt at night in Hawaii, but so it's not a rifle scope. That's just
it's a monocular.
You have to hold it in your hand and look through it.
Yeah.
No, actually, one of the pictures I was going to ask you, does it come with that headset? Strap it around your head to hold it in place?
You buy an attachment for it. I don't know if this one does or not, but the one I've got.
One of the pictures that you can select, it shows it obviously on a dummy's head, but it shows it mounted to this strap-on. I'm going to call it a headset for lack of the correct term.
The one that I had did not come with that, but you can strap it on, and it looks like you could strap it onto your rifle. Mine, I never tried it though.
Yeah, this one says includes headgear.
Oh, nice.
The link that you sent. That was $299.
Yeah, mine did not come with that, and I paid a little bit over $300 out the door.
Now,
seems to me that if you were really
the CR123A, how long is that just one, and how long does it usually last? How many hours?
Oh, the battery? I haven't changed mine yet, and I've had it for a while, but then again, I barely use it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It seems to me that if you're going to bet your life on night vision, you need to train with it and not just barely use it, But I mean, you don't use it to bet your life. You just use it to go out hunting, critters, right? But I think if I was going to get into night vision, I wanted to be something that I could, walk around at night with all the time and not trip over logs and shit, which is what I would do with a monocular. The first rock I would just trip over and fall down and break it or something. I mean, a rifle scope, okay. There are inexpensive, Gen 1, which have worked in combat,
So, Jimmy, what can you hunt at night out in your general area?
Oh, in Arizona, nothing that I know of.
Oh,
I'm sure that you could do big game at night, but I haven't gotten into big game out here just because of the fact that it's a raffle. And so it's pretty much comes down to you got to know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, to get a tag to hunt a big game in Arizona. All right.
Yeah, but I do hunt. Right now. It's actually quail season. They're coming up on the Mern quail, and December 2nd.
Don't all those rattlesnakes come out at night or something? And if you go night hunting,
no, I've don't tell anybody now, but I've shot a couple rattlesnakes during the day over where I shoot at.
It's not illegal to shoot rattlesnakes, is it?
Kinda.
What does that mean? Kind of. Either illegal.
Doesn't it depend on the
it's
kind
illegal.
It is.
It depends on the kind of snake it is, and also if you feel like you're in danger and you cannot retreat, it's legal to shoot them, but for game hunting, it's not.
Yeah.
And I have a little rattler keychain.
Like a Western Diamondback, they're very common all over the Western United States.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but they kind of treat it like out here. It's also illegal to shoot a cactus.
Oh yeah,
So they
well
kinda
yeah.
treat it like that.
The saguaro, the saguaro cactuses.
Well-
those are like national treasures
Yeah,
almost.
well, that's like
They'll
what do you-
throw your ass in jail and leave you there. For
Oh, yeah.
hurt a
like
cactus.
the trees in California that are like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes like 70 years of those. You have to be 70 years old before the saguaro cactuses will grow their first arm. So yeah, if you
Yeah.
see one of those cactuses with 2 arms, it's like 200 years old. So yeah, but they live what 250 years, those cactuses. So yeah, they don't want you shooting those. The mythology that I got when my dad recently visited Tucson from the Indian ranger there was that they think those saguaro cactuses are reincarnated people. So
Yeah. And you can't even go shooting on reservation land without going in and checking with the proper authorities, which I don't know who that is because I never have.
So for the
You're not
Indians,
supposed to go on
it'd be like
reservation land, period, without their prior permission.
shooting
Yeah,
a cactus would be like murder because they think they're their relatives that came back. Their
Well, yeah, even the little
ancestors.
baby one, not even the saguaro ones though. I mean, those are probably super duper illegal to shoot. But even the little itty bitty ones, you can't shoot at any cactuses. It's all illegal. If they catch you doing it, you're done.
John Wayne shot at a cactus in El Dorado, but that was John Wayne.
Yeah.
Because I watched the John Wayne marathon after the first football game. So, and
Well,
yesterday, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there probably wasn't any sheriffs rolling around where he was at.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a long time ago too. El
Yeah.
Dorado, that was in the '60s. Yesterday, I watched John Wayne's The Alamo movie was on, and I really like that knock gun that Richard Whitmark had. I know it's not a practical gun, but it just has a pretty high cool factor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and out here too, that's why I want to try it because right across, not technically across the street from me, it's about 0.6, it's a half a mile away from me, is public land where you could legally just walk on there and go hunting. And I think it's BLM land. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that it's hunting grounds. And I want to go out there at night because, like I said, it's not considered legal to do, but people do it.
Yeah,
And the law really doesn't give you shit for it.
Here, if you do that in Hawaii, they will take your car, your guns. If you're hunting with dogs, they will take your dogs and euthanize them.
So, in case anyone is new to the show like me, I'm now getting a sense as to why Jimmy might be interested in night fishing gear. I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm getting a feeling.
Well, I mean, it stems from when I was a kid, man. My grandfather used to take me out at night to take out squirrel, to take out raccoon. And we had a big problem with those where he lived at in Westchester because we were right next to a forest preserve.
Yeah, well,
so that's where my passion comes in at. So I really like the thrill of the hunt, I guess, the challenge of it all.
And tell him the man that just stick it.
Well, like I said, out here in Apache Junction, man, they're pretty lax with their laws. Now, if I were to try and go out to the hunting grounds more north, more west, yeah, I would get my guns confiscated and probably at least sit a night in jail and leave with a ticket.
Do you need a hunting permit to hunt? Okay.
Yeah, but it's real easy. You just go up to the Walmart, $37, and they'll give you a quick little test, paper test. Call in, register you, which I heard now it's all on computers. So they just register you real quick, and you're good to go.
That's cool. Yeah, in Hawaii, you have to first go take the hunter's education course, and then which basically you have to go sit up in a really annoying chairs, tiny little school kids chairs for like 3 or 4 days, and listen to the rangers babble on and show you a few slides, and then You take a test, and if you pass it, then which pretty much everybody does, they mail you, like in 2 weeks, they'll mail you a hunter's education card with a number on it, and then you have to go onto a website and pay $20 for the hunting license and an extra $10 if you want a bird stamp on it, and then you just print it out off of your computer with your printer. And then I went down and I laminated it this year so I could just stick it in my pocket, because if you don't have it on you when you're out shooting your gun in the hunting lands, they will, basically if you break any,
having it.
then, if it's in your car, it's not good enough. It has to be on your person. So I laminated it so I could stick it in my pocket, not have it.
Now, this may or may not be a dumb question, but in Hawaii, just to go target shooting, do you have to have your hunting license too? Because I know okay.
Because we don't have a range in West Hawaii. Not on this side of the island. There's no range. The politicians won't approve it. So for 45 years, they've been trying to get a range built, and the guy that was trying finally gave up, I think, last year.
I gotta go, guys. We'll catch you later. And
all right.
Show tomorrow, Jimmy.
All right. Thanks, Dano. Have a good night, sir.
Thanks for coming on, Dano. God bless. And thank you too for coming on my Lock and Load show on Mondays. And there wasn't that much news this Monday. There's this Satan II missile that could blow up Texas. Yeah,
but I've noticed too, a lot of like the political stuff, man. They've just been either regurgitating the same stuff, or I don't know. That whole Fidel Castro thing, it just doesn't seem like it's going to affect us at all.
Well, yeah. I think Russia's trying to make a deal to get a military intelligence base in. What the hell do they need a military intelligence base in Cuba? It's just to stick it to America by putting an intelligence officer in Havana.
Yeah, slap in the face, kind of.
Yeah, but they don't need one. They have their own fucking satellites. It doesn't nothing. What's he gonna smoke Cuban cigars all day and drink whatever liquor they have there? But
well, yeah, I would imagine the climate is a little bit better out there than Russia.
The girls are probably prettier too, but it's just. Like I was saying earlier on your show, there's girls here too, and I won't go into all that, but because I don't want to be arrested for anything that I may have said and done in the past, but nothing was wrong. So anyway, take the Fifth Amendment on that one. But
there you go.
All right, so what's going to be on the early watch tomorrow?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but we're going to pretty much be talking about girls and guns. I got my regular gun book that's going to be coming on. Guess That Gun, of course. And then I actually have a frequently asked questions, and I'm going to run through a few of those, and we'll give all of our expert internet gun guy opinions.
Okay, but I swear I've given up on unless it's a movie question. I've given up on guessing that gun because Sean Connery and Angry American are just so fast. I can never beat them. And one time on the Daily Gun Show, and after I do your show, I don't have energy for listen to a whole nother gun show and wait for the tactical pop quiz. It's just because 2 cups of coffee and doing 6 hours worth of show. I can't do another show right after that. I have to do something in real life. And
it gets exhausting sometimes. I hear you.
And so it's like I almost just. Whatever, I give up on that. So the one time I was on the Daily Gun Show, I got the right answer, and I don't know, maybe it was lag, but I typed it right away, and I guess somebody else did too. And it was like a movie question that I knew the answer to, and so I typed out the answer, but somebody else beat me to it, and I typed it right after he said the question. So it was like I just threw my pen against the wall and said, "Fuck this shit, I'll never win." It's too annoying, and usually like on your stuff is so obscure, it's hard to ever
I
guess.
try to make it a little bit tough.
Yeah, well, I'll try and think of something new, but I used all my news on this show today, and there was like the week before there was a lot of news, happening, and the whole thing. There's lots of stuff, and but I still think this currency thing is gonna be spread to other countries like Spain and Australia, and it's just if it happens in America, and we go completely cashless, I don't know. Dano's
I can
right,
see
though.
that being. Yeah, we're almost there, pretty much.
Almost. But then they'll be able to track what guns, how much ammo you buy just by looking at, because you've paid for everything with your credit cards, and you never pay for anything in cash. And, so the government will know everything that you do, and if they want to ban something, they just, need to void out the transactions. And, they need to just, if they prohibit a certain kind of transaction, they don't have to pass a law. They just refuse to bank it, they refuse to let it go through the banking system. And so okay, you can no longer it's not illegal to buy and sell bullets, but cash is illegal, and we won't the banks won't process that transaction. So just imagine how easy it is for them to control by not making it possible to do it. Like, guns aren't illegal, you can buy and sell guns, but you can't there's cash is illegal. And we won't, the banks don't want to be involved in evil things like guns, so you can't buy it. The banks won't process firearm transactions. I mean, there's so many ways they can use it to control anything that they don't want to pay for.
Yeah, I can see it definitely being problematic.
Yeah, it's just another form of government control, banning cash, and so, and not to mention the ways they can abuse and game the system.
Well, I mean, here's to hoping, man, because with Trump coming in, hopefully he I know he can't do everything that we want him to do, but hopefully he could snuff out a couple of the executive orders that came through, and this whole currency thing doesn't go. That's what I'm hoping.
I don't know. We're so close to it already. I don't think Trump can fix all this. The world's so screwed up. I don't think any one person can fix all this stuff. But, you got to give the guy a chance and hope that good things happen. I mean, I do have a lot of hope. There's a lot of good people on this planet, that do things for other people, and don't expect anything back. And so, that's why I'm going to be doing a giveaway, but, because other people have been doing nice things for me. And so I want to do something nice for somebody that I don't know. So I'll be doing a giveaway soon. Because we're getting really close to 20 trillion. So I should be able to work the timing out real soon. If anybody's looked at the nationaldeadclock.org or usdeadclock.org. But
yeah, you might even get before Christmas.
Yeah, it's going to. So I'll be putting together a tactical stocking stuffer giveaway soon, and maybe I'll do it on a show. I'll just have a giveaway show or something and figure out how to do it. But I don't know. Something to think about. I have never done a giveaway before, so I've won a few somehow. I won my bug out bag on a giveaway once, so my Rush 24 bag.
Well, I'll tell you too. I mean, if you get it spread out there enough, make sure you mention it in the morning. Make sure you mention it wherever you can. Probably raise your viewership up a little bit too. I know it worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I don't really need viewers who just want to win something though. But if there's, I'll figure it out somehow. But
no. See what it is they hear about the contest and come in, and then they actually listen to your show and realize if they want to listen to your show or not. And that's how
you get eyeballs on your channel, and they give it a try.
If they like it, cool. If they don't, go
it's
somewhere
just
else.
amazing. I was surprised when I met the one guy I went to had a foot sprain in the hospital. So he recognized my voice just talking to the nurse while she was bandaging my foot. It's like, I know that voice from somewhere. I said, it must be from my YouTube channel. He goes, you're the Hawaii Volcano Squad. And it's like, getting my foot bandaged by a nurse. It's like, so the guy pushed me out to the wheelchair, and I couldn't believe that he actually watched all my videos. And I said, well, do you like the chest? Do you like the gun videos? Do you like the knife videos? Do you like the prepper videos? He said, no, I like all of it. I was like, dude, you're crazy. I don't even like all of it. It's my show. And so it's like, I don't know, but I just try and have fun doing it, whatever. But I'm really looking forward to getting out as soon as my foot heals up and doing some shooting and making some more range videos. I put my new steel target together, so I need to do a Need for Steel video.
That'd be pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's like
I like that one, the running gun you did with your AK. That was a pretty cool video.
Yeah, I like doing it. That was like just such a dream for me when I was sitting in the hospital and I couldn't, and I needed a pill to fall asleep. I said it on your show. I needed a pill to get up out of bed in the morning because it hurt so much, and it was freezing, and just being able to run outside in the sun, and you can't really tell in that video, but that's kind of a steep uphill, even before where you could see there was a hill, a mound, but it was a kind of a steep uphill. So I mean, next time I'll try and run in a more aggressive fashion. But it looked like I was just jogging up the hill or something. But it was just boy, to be able to do that was like a big accomplishment. Because I mean, shit, I needed a walker the first couple days. I mean, the first time I got up out of bed, I walked 12 steps and turned around and walked straight back, and it was too painful to walk, I mean, and then I got the speech from the doctors: if you don't get up and walk, you'll be in a room on a ventilator and you'll never get out of bed again. So it's like, I'll get up out of bed again tomorrow and walk, but that's it for fucking today. 12 steps is all you get. It was too fucking painful. The next day, and from that point forward, I really put out an effort to deal with the pain and walk, just, walk up all the flights of stairs and, walk around all the hospital wards, do all the walking I could, until I ran into Nurse Ratchet, who said, don't walk down the hallways. Doctor told me to walk, and the fucking crazy nurse tells me not to, and the security guys are like, it was so funny. They took one look at me and they're like, nope, we aren't fighting this guy. And then I think one of the bus drivers was giving me crap about being late or something, or and how it'd be so easy to just push all the old people, or all the if the people he was driving around get annoying, he could just push all the old people over or something. It's easy, It's like, well, why don't you try that with me and see what happens to you? I mean, you could take why don't you get all the bus drivers together and try that with me and see what happens to you? I mean, I just faced down death on an operating table. You think like 5 or 6 guys are going to scare me? I mean, that's one of the patches I got from. I got the Blade HQ has a bunch of patches, morale patches, and I got one for the Grim Reaper patch because I saw the Grim Reaper. I met him. I shook his hand and I said, "Come back later." Like in 30 or 40 years, but I met him, and a mortal human being can't scare me anymore. It's impossible. It really is. So you can call that an edge if you want it, but I explained to this bus driver, okay, get all your bus driver friends together to drive everybody around and try that and see what happens to you. Because it won't be pretty. And those security guards, they didn't want to mess with me either, but they could just tell by looking at me. I looked a lot better than I was, and I got to tell you though, after a week and a half, about a month and a half of therapy, everybody at the place said, "Gee, you look about 1 billion times better than when you first came in here." Because just walking to the beach every day, walking up and down the beach, and twice a week on the treadmill with and lifting weights, that's all it took, and just not eating crap, too. It was really easy because you just look at this one time, this little old lady came in and said, "Oh, hey, Steve, they've got German chocolate rum cake for dessert. You can't skip dessert today." I was like, fuck, I just thought of the incision pain. I was just like, I ran out of the dining area. I just ran away from the rum cake. Why did you tell me that? I just ran away because I didn't even want to be tempted to look at it because I don't want to wind up on that damn operating table again.
Like, are you trying to kill me?
I mean, literally, the rum cake is so great. It's awesome. It's like, don't tell me that. But I mean, after 2 months there, I mean, it was great to have a kitchen staff. I just picked the healthy stuff from the menu items. I didn't eat anything with cheese, no ice cream. And every time when they had some special dessert, I would say, just bring me a bowl of cantaloupe or something for dessert, and you do that steadily, and you don't eat the saturated fat foods, and you walk to the beach and walk around the beach all day, you'll lose weight because real fast, because your body will be used to seeing all the saturated fat that it's no longer getting, so it'll just eat it off of your body instead.
Oh yeah, like when I didn't go through anything that you went through, like you went through, but I was eating junk all the time. Now only Mondays and Fridays I'll eat junk, and the biggest thing that cut me down though was soda. When I stopped drinking soda, man, that's when I really started noticing that I was losing weight.
Well, yeah, for me, well, they didn't have soda at all there, so it was like water, or they would offer you, I think, cranberry juice on ice.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they would literally pour your drinks so they could control it. They would bring you, whichever you ordered, but it would be small portions,
Right.
and they didn't have, soft drinks. So, and if you wanted something special, you could get on a shopping. But they had medical buses, and they had like once or twice a week they would have a shopping bus. So you could, they take everybody to Long's, and then everybody would get what they wanted, but it was weird going to Long's and trying to find like something healthy to eat. And the best I could do was the Atkins bars. And those were great. Those helped me. Those Atkins bars make great meal replacements, and they taste great. Like the cranberry walnut, they're kind of expensive, but if you use one of those for lunch, it really helped me because when I would go twice a week to the cardio rehab, they would always weigh me. And so it was like, I got to keep losing weight. And just walking and exercising and just regulate. So sometimes I would skip a meal and have an Atkins bar instead. And it really helped. And I would get some, but it was hard looking through Long's because they have so much crap,
Oh yeah.
and so the Atkins bars, snack energy bars, so that they're those work, and some vitamin water, stuff like that I could get. And but living in an institutional living, man, I guess a lot of people do it when they get old, and that nice old lady Hilda, she was so nice to me, the only Republican in the place, she was just a nice old lady, and her family just wanted her to sell her house, because she couldn't take care of it of her own anymore without her husband. And, she couldn't get, and she was having to, use all of her kids to help try and maintain any semblance of order. So they wanted to just move her into the old person's home. And, but she was a really classy lady, and but she was the only Republican there. So everybody else was a flaming anti-gun Democrat. So, I almost pushed one guy. The guy almost pushed the Filipino regiment veteran army guy into the. I pushed him out. He pissed me. He was like, when I told him I was voting for Trump and that I like guns, he was just freaking out. Almost pushed his wheelchair over the fucking to the fountain, off of the second floor, straight into the fountain.
Oh, man.
But it was so. Well, people are kind of set in their ways. If you tell them you like guns and you're Republican, they believe that all guns are bad and all people that own. I mean, the guy owned a gun himself, but he didn't think that anybody else should be allowed to. But
Yeah. Like they're the only responsible ones.
Yeah. And of course he associated guns with killing because he was in World War II, and so. Well, I've never killed anybody. I own 4 long guns and a dozen pistols, and I never killed anybody and never shot anybody. I managed to get through my life without having to hurt anybody, so, and hopefully I get through the whole thing without having to hurt anybody. But I'm not the only person that gets a vote. The bad guys get a vote too.
Yeah.
If they try and break into your house or do something, that would hurt you or your loved ones, then, you get to step up and say, no, you can't do that, And so the bad guys get a vote too sometimes. And anyway, but all I know is I don't want to end up in one of those institutional living settings, even if it's kind of with good intentions. I just don't want somebody that doesn't even speak English, who just is annoyed with me because I didn't want to sit in the cold, like, fucking with me. or some Nurse Ratchet, it's just like, I know my dad would hate it. I mean, I don't know how I didn't just fight anybody when I was there just for fun, just to get out my frustrations. Take that, because it was like they gave me like a steel walking cane, or a walking stick,
Yeah.
and that makes a great extremist stick. You could really fuck somebody up with that big time. You could do a few chokes, holds, and flip them. I mean, the only part about trying to flip somebody is that their whole body weight would be on my sternum, and I don't think my sternum could handle it. But you could still screw somebody up. I mean, with a steel walking cane, that's a damn good weapon, and you can take that onto a plane or into an airport. So walking sticks are allowed, and those are like just amazing weapons if you have any concept of how to fight with a stick. So I would have that, and what was really cool is that when I originally got that, I had my karambit with me the whole time. So I could walk anywhere and feel perfectly safe, because what happened was I was in an emergency room in Kona, and then I was in their hospital there for one day, and then they did an air ambulance turboprop flight. So the ambulance took me to the airport, and they drove me right out onto the tarmac, and I got on the plane to Honolulu. So no security, no TSA. And I had my pocket knife on me because it's my everyday carry. So went right onto the plane with all my pocket knife. Now, it's not like I'm going to hijack the medical flight, with a paramedic on it that's monitoring my heart rate or anything. But
Right.
I mean, I could have if I was a bad guy. So, but I got to take my, karambit with me to Honolulu. And when I was walking around town and, because I was walking up and down Ala Moana, which is like on Waikiki Beach, this kind of like long piece of land that stretches out into the ocean from Ala Moana boat harbor, and on one side, and a long stretch of beach on the other, and it's a beautiful place. And it's a little green sand beach on the tip point of the tip there, the like a finger of land that juts out into the ocean, and but I could carry my pocket knife karambit with me everywhere I went. So, I went to a sports bar or something. I felt like I was, packing heat the whole time, and I wasn't carrying a gun. I know G Webs doesn't think knives are any good, but, I felt safe with it. And, it's the next best thing to having a gun in a state where you're not allowed to have them. But, again, national reciprocity, I hope it gets passed. It'll be worth my $10 donation to Donald Trump's campaign if they get that thing passed. And
yeah, no shit.
And Gun Owners of America, that's, if anybody that's listening hasn't joined Gun Owners of America, check that out. They have they're very positive on what they think is going to happen. After Trump gets inaugurated, assuming he makes it to the inauguration alive and nobody shoots him before then. So
keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, keep our fingers crossed to save our Constitution that nothing goes wrong in between now and then, and Putin doesn't launch one of those missiles at somebody. That's a badass looking missile, but
Yeah, that's definitely a big one.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on my show. I know you got to get some sleep so you can do your show in the morning. Because how long till your show?
Yeah, not long, man. About 8-9 hours, something like that.
Okay, Seth. So everybody in the morning, go to what's your YouTube channel? It's Jimmy James, right?
Yep, Jimmy James.
And if you type up Jimmy James and gun channels,
yeah,
in the YouTube search engine, you'll find his channel. And on Gun Channels, you could go to gunchannels.com/earlywatch, and there'll be the text chat there. If you sign up, it's free, and you could participate that way, and then you could win something. Even you have prize packages if somebody can actually beat Sean Connery and Angry American on guessing your obscure gun. So for your name that gun quiz.
Yeah. I don't make it easy on them. I try.
I gave up. It's fucking impossible to win that thing. They're so fast, But if you want to test your Google foo, on guns, or maybe you'll know the answer somehow to some obscure gun. But anyway, thanks for coming on my show, Jimmy, and I'll try and make it done. Do I need to do anything to prepare for tomorrow, or?
Oh man, just come on down and bring your cup of coffee.
All right, man. Thanks. We're going to close this one out. Thanks for everybody for tuning in to Lock and Load, and see y'all next week. God bless America.
Later.
Yeah.